Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And I'm bringing up this particular video and storyline that dates back to 2012, but is very applicable to today. And the young lady, the foster child that got convicted for murder, is appealing her case at this present moment. Remember, this case took place in 2012, but it resonates with many of the stories that are taking place today. This has the axiom of foster child and their dealings with foster parents. This has the personality and axiom of sexual misconduct, extramarital affairs, and the final conclusion in this story is that it has everything to do with the manipulation and the decision to take out one of the foster parents by killing the foster mother. So this deals with the foster child, foster father, foster mother, and one of them end up losing their lives. And I think you can guess as I go through this story what actually took place, and it's very sad, and it's even happening today. Straight out of Cleveland, Ohio, foster daughter gets life sentence in Willoughby Hills stabbing death. A teenager who says she killed her foster mother in 2012 at the urging of the dead woman's husband was sentenced to life in prison. Sabrina Zunich, 19, pleaded guilty to aggravated murder in the gruesome stabbing death of Lisa Knofel, 41, in 2012. The social worker, Miss Lisa was a social worker, was stabbed and cut more than 150 times with a 10-inch serrated knife, authorities said. Zunich is eligible for parole in 30 years. So Zunich, Sabrina, the foster daughter, was 19 at the time. The killing occurred around 1:15 a.m. on November 26, 2012. Authorities say Lisa Knofel's 13-year-old daughter saw her mother fighting for her life during the encounter with Zunich and called 911 in a chilling cry for help. Officers from the Cleveland suburb of Willoughby Hills arrived quickly and found Zunich splattered with blood, still grasping the knife. Zunich testified against her foster father, Kevin Knofel, during his trial on charges of conspiracy to commit aggravated murder and sexual battery. Prosecutors said it was unlikely that they have obtained the conviction. It's unlikely that they would have obtained the conviction they won against Kevin Knofel without Zunich's testimony. A different Lake County judge in August sentenced 44-year-old Knofel to life in prison with a chance of parole after 30 years. A tearful Zunich, the 19-year-old foster daughter, with her wrists manacled in front of her, spoke briefly before being sentenced. She said Lisa Knofel, her foster mother, did not deserve to die. I can't explain how much remorse I have, how much sadness, she said. Zunich's defense attorney, Charlie Grieshammer, argued on Monday that she should receive the minimum sentence of 20 years to life. Grieshammer said Zunich had overcome a tough family life, substance abuse, and mental health issues to get her life and education back on track before she was sent to live with the Knofels. Had she been placed anywhere else, she might have made it, attorney Grieshammer stated. Moving in with the Knofels in 2011 seemed to make sense. Lisa Knofel had experience with troubled teens because of her background in social work. She and her husband had hosted foster children before, and there were two younger girls that Zunich could bond with. These are the Knofels' children, but the Knofels had a troubled marriage. So So Sabrina was coming into the home as a foster child, but the Nofels already had two children. Kevin Nofel began seducing his foster daughter, and by 2012, they were having sex. Zunich testified. Romance led to a talk of murder. Sabrina testified that the day before the slaying, Kevin Nofel threatened suicide if his wife was not killed. She said Nofel even gave her advice on how to fatally stab his wife. He was out of town driving a truck in Michigan when the slaying occurred. Prosecutors believe money was Kevin Nofel's biggest motive for having his wife killed. He stood to receive $750,000 in life insurance and the family home if she died. So that's basically the setup of the case. We have a foster child that comes into this home. The Nofels already have two children. This young lady had been, Sabrina, the foster child, had been with them for a number of years, and evidently Kevin, the foster father, decided to seduce and to try to nurture this young lady into a romance, and then he wanted his wife removed. Now, how many times have you heard these stories each and every day? But I think the caveat to this particular story is how this young lady, this foster child, was groomed inside the home by the foster dad, allegedly. And not only were they in a relationship, a sexual relationship, or an extramarital affair, but this young lady was a teenager, underage throughout this journey. And also at the end of it, they decided to take it even more grossly into a negative light by deciding to plan the murder of Kevin's wife. And Sabrina completed that job. So you have foster child, girl, dating foster parent, man. They're having an extramarital affair. It's taking place within the four walls and under the nose of Kevin's wife. And then they decide to push the limit even further, and they decide to take out Kevin's wife, Lisa, who unfortunately got stabbed over 150 times. Mental illness is real, and stress, anxiety. Why are we in a time in today where we're seeing so many stories of children killing their parents, parents abusing their own biological children, let alone their foster children? I've done stories about couples that have adopted foster kids and then treated them like slaves. And now you have a scenario where this man had adopted a foster child who had a troubled background from the very beginning, and they knew that going in there. Instead of being helpful and trying to provide this young lady, Sabrina, with a stable life, the husband had alternative motives. Lisa, who was a trained social worker, sounds like she had all of the right motives. So we had a yin and yang, a black and white, a good and bad, all inside this one house. And this poor girl, Sabrina, Zunich, had no idea what she was walking into. We have to make sure we vet and cleanse our foster care system, our juvenile courts, our adult penitentiaries. There has to be some form or some system in the social services where we can be helpful, handful, and provide rehabilitation or some form of therapy, both mental and physical, for people that are in need, and especially our children. For this grown man to groom and to brainwash this young lady into not only having an extramarital affair with him, but to decide on killing his wife, and he didn't do it, he had Sabrina do it. So how much of a coward could you be? I have not been a huge proponent of the death penalty, but I think some people need to be under the jail. And this is a completely given scenario where this husband, Mr. Nofel, should spend the rest of his life in prison to have his own wife killed by his foster child that he was having an affair with. Just when we think we know somebody and been with them for 10, 20 years, sometimes you never know them. And when stress and anxiety and people are pushed against the wall, the most appropriate thing to do is to get a divorce, to separate, get a divorce, and then move on with your life and try to restore it in some framework. It is not the end all be all because you're married to somebody that divorce is not an option. Why are so many couples today feeling like death is the appropriate option, or murdering their other spouse? Uh, that makes not an ounce of sense. We all know when a spouse, girlfriend, loved one is murdered, they're going to look at the people closest to them. I don't think that no fool was thinking straight. Why would you even want to kill your wife? And then here again, now we have life insurance. This is a redundant story over and over again, but I'm bringing this one up because of how Mr. Knowful manipulated this foster child who came from a troubled background, and I mean manipulated her all the way to the point of causing harm to her foster mother and killing her and stabbing her 150 times. What a sad case. This family's entire dynamic will never be the same. The foster child, foster young lady, Sabrina Zunich, got convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Her life is over. The foster parent, father, Knowful, his life is over. And then the remaining children, as a result of the mother dying, their lives are going to be troubled for the rest of their lives. And of course, Miss Knowful, the foster mother, her demise and ending up being stabbed and killed is the worst scenario you can think of. So I think Mr. Knowful needs to be locked up for prison for the rest of his life, and should be doing just as much time, if not more, than Sabrina. Hopefully, she went to jail at such a young age at 19. It's been almost 12 years ago, that she has had some form of remorse, sorrow, asked for forgiveness, and then trying to venture her way and navigate it in some kind of positive, rehabilitative state where she can accept her responsibility, serve her time, and maybe get some of her life back, even though she took one. Tell me what you think about this situation, about this foster child uh, and two foster parents, husband and wife, and the foster female child ended up taking the life of the foster mother at the advice and manipulation of the foster dad. Right out of Willoughby Hills, Cleveland, Ohio. Tell me what you think. This has been a Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way.